I don't really like throwing the M word around lightly. That is, masterpiece, as I notice a lot of people call too many films and shows a masterpiece and give it 10 out of 10 on IMDb or Letterboxd. I believe this word, as well as perfect ratings, should be reserved for very few pieces of cinema in order to distinguish the best of the best from everything underneath it. This video will be introducing you about my personal favourite TV show of all time, which I would consider, without a doubt, a masterpiece, and it is called Mr. Inbetween. For context, Mr. Inbetween is a television show from Australia that follows the protagonist, Ray Shoesmith, who is a hitman that balances his responsibilities of being a good father, boyfriend, supportive brother, and loyal best mate. The show follows Ray and the tension in between his job as a hitman and the ordinary relationships he tries to maintain. That's all I can say without spoiling it. I'll be delving a bit more into the show, without spoilers. However, I will graze over some minor plot points and characters, so if you want to go into this show completely blind, stop watching now. All I can tell you is you have to watch this show. It is extremely good, on par with Breaking Bad good. But if you want a bit more convincing or just want a bit more info, keep watching. Upon watching this show too many times to count, I think I've figured out the three components that make this show extremely good. The first one is the dialogue, second is the characters, and third is the writing. There are many other components that make this show stand out, but these are the main three which are the foundation for this absolute masterpiece of a show. Dialogue. Dialogue is tricky to write properly, tricky to execute. It's just tricky. You can spot bad dialogue a mile away. A recent example of bad dialogue would be Stranger Things Season 5, which was just horrendous. Anyway, dialogue is usually shit, alright, good, or amazing, and most shows in my opinion range from alright to good, with very few being amazing. However, Mr. Inbetween in my opinion changes the scale completely, with shows I thought had dialogue that was amazing were actually just good, and shows with what I thought was good dialogue dropped to alright, because Mr. Inbetween's dialogue is next level and makes the vast majority of shows appear amateur in comparison. But why is this? It comes down to one word in my opinion: authenticity. Mr. Inbetween's dialogue is real. It conveys how real people talk to each other. The mannerisms, the pacing, the realism, the relatability, it is really, really good dialogue. I didn't cringe even once or question a line of dialogue throughout the show because it was written so perfectly. It conveys not only how real people speak to one another, but how Aussies speak to one another. In fact, the dialogue is so powerful and so authentic in this show, it makes what would be boring or ordinary scenes in any other show engaging. There are many moments in Mr. Inbetween where people are just speaking for minutes and minutes, and somehow it is equally engaging to the moments where Ray shoots his enemies or beats up a couple of cunts. This was one of the first signs that made me realise this show is unlike anything I've ever seen before. To make most of the dialogue in this show as entertaining as high-end action scenes is really unique, and as a result, there are almost no boring moments in this show. For starters, Ray's best mate, Gary, is a dude who enjoys a good old beer, is sex-obsessed, crude, but really is just there for Ray, and vice versa. This felt relatable, as you can see parts of Gary in someone you may know in real life. Same with Ray's girlfriend, Ali. The relatability of conversations between the two was insane. It feels exactly like how a couple would speak with one another. The two never had any cringe-inducing American couple dialogue, just pure, relatable, engaging dialogue. Or take Ray's relationship with his daughter. It feels real and like how a parent would actually speak with their kid. And occasionally, Ray intervenes into his daughter's life when she is bullied, takes drugs, or is up to something and wants to investigate. Might not be directly relatable for everyone, but relatable if you are a helicopter parent who wishes they could threaten their child's bully and stop the bad influences surrounding them. Now onto the final component, the writing of the show. Each episode is 20-25 minutes and manages to fit in lots of content and scenes without feeling rushed or out of place. The structure of this show is having each episode as its own individual story, but also has an overarching story that comes to a conclusion at the end of the season. It manages to fit in episodic storytelling with an overarching season-long narrative that feels very entertaining. It also manages to perfectly balance comedy, drama, romance, suspense with one another without feeling out of place or unevenly transitioned. Sometimes you will go from Ray and his mate pondering the meaning of life to a full-on action scene, or go from a heartwarming scene to just a straight-up gut-wrenching moment. That's all I got to say for this video, as I don't want to charter into spoiler territory. This was just meant to be a brief introduction to this show. But just watch the show, I beg you.